Can you crank the door real quickly? We in? Yep. All right, we're in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday's episode where we take one question or one topic from y'all. If you want to get involved, goodcompany.discord.com. Not only do you get exclusives on apparel, first looks, but a like-minded community where we're always chatting in there. But there's a tab where you can ask us questions. Today, we're on the hot topic of, I guess, powerlifting federations, which is always going on. But in particular, the USAPL has been under the heat, the microscope, for the last couple weeks here. One, because they opened nationals, to qualifying totals that may or may not happen in the future. And it was first come, first serve, like always. Whether it's planned or not, then it seems like they opened or sent a personal invite to pros. I don't know if that's because of the arguments that were happening on how they moved about this, or if it was already planned that way. But on top of that, to add the sandwich or the cherry on top, they put out their new qualifying totals for 2025. And I'm a little bit behind in information. Again, we're not CNN News. I don't have all the data and stats. We're not a powerlifting reporting podcast, but obviously it's in our blood. So I don't know what the 2024 qualifying totals are. Last time I checked, I obviously just like get a decent comparison of my strength over the years versus the qualifying total, and that's how I kind of justify how they're moving. In the past, 2010 to 2015, raw USAPL Nationals was very, very small. Started gaining a lot of traction in 14, 15, 16 with the likes of Omar Esoff and Johnny Candido and Barbara Brigade and a bunch of people started showing some love to some raw, natural powerlifting. And then the USAPL exploded with many other people contributing. But at the time, I could total with like a push-pull and qualify easily. And I was decently strong. Looking at some of the totals at the time, I'd probably finish in the top 5 for many years. But obviously the sport expanded. The talent pool got bigger. People streamlined their training, took it more serious. And now people are crazy strong everywhere. There's 90-kilo kids squatting 800 pounds. Which at the time was untested 275 level squats, So the game has come very far in the last 15 years. But now the qualifying totals. So this year the argument was that they're letting anybody in this meet, right? Yep. The barn doors open. You don't even have to have your total. You just have to get it before you get in to nationals, that you could apply, get into the meet, then qualify, then get in, which is a pipe dream for a lot of people. A lot of people, who knows who got into the meet that aren't even close to the total or will hit it. And then it seemed to fast forward to, I might be wrong, I haven't had a chance to look at the data because I literally saw the new QTs this morning before we podcasted. So I didn't get to check the data loosely, but on a whim, I think the 90-kilo qualifying total is like a top 10 total at nationals last year in 2023. I might be wrong there, but a 1730 total in the 90 kilogram is insanely strong. Yeah, might even be top 5. I don't really know. So that seems to obviously go from floodgates open to building a dam, for a drought.
Freaking Hoover Dam. Yeah. What I'm just looking at a post from Pete Spence, little thing that was done comparing the 2023 qualifying totals and the 2025 qualifying totals, and the percentage change that he is showing here is between 3% and 17% increase.
Yeah, see, that's such a huge difference. 3%, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's like low weight class women.
Yeah, 17% for any weight class.
Yeah, 76.
And I guess that
76 and a half for women at 17% increase.
Yeah, 17% is probably not crazy aggressive if they want to make USAPL Nationals smaller, but 17%, yeah, maybe I'm behind in my data because it seemed bigger than that. Like 1730 at 90 kilos is so insanely strong.
So then the 90 is a 9% increase.
For the men?
For the 90s? Men, 90s, yeah.
Oh, then it's not as big as I thought then. Because I knew it was like in the 16s, 15s. I mean, people are just getting stronger, I guess, then. Maybe my outrage is unjustified. I mean, it is stronger, and I know people are getting weird with it. But 17-pound increase, or 17% increase is pretty drastic. That obviously just cuts out. It automatically cuts out 17%.
Yeah, it's
right. Unless the bottom half gets 17% stronger in a year, you're cutting out 17% of people competing at nationals. And maybe that is their goal. Maybe, I know they're trying to up their pro series. I know they're trying to make regionals more important. So maybe this is just a step in that direction. So maybe overall it is a good thing.
1758 is the
90s?
90s.
Yeah, that's fucking strong, man.
That's very, very high.
Yeah, that's strong. So yeah, if that is the goal, which I don't mind, I think nationals, and we've talked about it on millions of podcasts over time, was to open door.
Yeah.
Like, it should mean something when you're a national level.
It shouldn't be 1,200 or 1,500 people.
Yeah. So if they want to make that even more competitive than that, I'd say fucking up at 50%. Only get the top 10 or 20 people there. If you're supposed to be a national, it's like the Olympia, right? If you made it to the Olympia as a bodybuilder, you're the guy. You're top 15 in the world. You're one of the best.
Yeah.
It should mean something to go to nationals. And then you just have to work on using your resources and making regional meets cooler and more important also. It's the follow-up.
Yeah, I think, however, though, when you're cutting down the number of lifters, you're probably also cutting into the number of people who are going to pay to see it, you know?
Potentially. Yeah, I think it's a balance, right? Yeah, if you cut, in my opinion, if you cut 17%, you're doing exactly what you said. You're just cutting away people to come watch. But then I think if you cut enough and you make it the Super Bowl, now you're making it more important.
Yeah, well, then maybe you make it a pay-per-view event, because
you know what I mean?
Still, only so many people are going to come.
Maybe for sure. But then I think then it should be competitive enough that it's more entertaining to watch. Right now, nationals isn't that fun to watch until the prime time, right? Because all these people are just from all over the map, like you said, like 2,000 people compete that weekend. But if you make it very consolidated and it is the best of the best of the best going head to head. Now, it might be more online viewers than in person, but then you can use your resources differently. You don't have to rent out a huge auditorium. You could rent out a cool little venue, right? So you still have 1,000 people watching in person, and then more online because you put more resources into XYZ. And obviously the financial part makes it all a little bit more difficult. But if you up the regionals importance, resources, the look, the meet itself, how well it's run, you could make the money there and use some of those resources for hopefully nationals being important. I mean, that's what this, like, the amount of money that goes into the Super Bowl isn't always just made at the Super Bowl. You know, it's made throughout the season. You know, they use the resources and the money and the hype and the marketing to build up the Super Bowl. Like the straight, you know, profit loss on just the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl is obviously not the best analogy because it's the event of the fucking world. But you'd imagine the NFL as a whole looks at the profit and loss from the entire playoffs, not just the Super Bowl, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Well, I guess, too, it depends on what kind of sport you think you have, because you don't have to, let's look at World's Strongest Man. You don't have to personally know those people. You just have to be a fan of the sport. And how it plays out. Yeah. Whereas a big national powerlifting meet, if you want a lot of people to attend, you have to have a lot of people participating. Because it's their friends or whatever, and only the very top people are going to have fans who come there just to see them. Yeah. And that is just going to be a more limited number.
Powerlifting's just always been that way. The only people that watch powerlifting have competed in powerlifting. Like probably 98%. Where there's tons of people that enjoy watching strongman that have never lifted a stone in their life. Right. Basketball, same thing. Baseball, football, obviously been that way. Maybe you played when you were younger or whatever, but a lot of people enjoy those sports that aren't active in that sport, where the vast majority of people that watch a powerlifting meet in person or online are currently competing in the sport. And it's just that way, and I do agree. And so the balance is fine. But if you want to, escalate what it means to be a national lifter, I guess this is step one. But it has to have the follow-up of being more special to be there, whether that's money, whether that's opportunity. And then you have to have the other branches of the tournament, whether it be a state meet to a regional meet to a national meet, mean something and have something real. I mean, even state meets, they've been a joke forever. Like, they have to be well planned, they have to be built, they have to feel special. Have a qualifier for that. They don't. Have a qualifier for regionals. They don't. So you have to build, and we've said this literally since we've podcasted for 20 goddamn years, that you have to have some kind of, that's what CrossFit did so great. Yeah. You did a cool online one that was hard, and you had to qualify.
That everybody could do.
Anybody can do, but you got to be like top 100, 200. Now you go to regionals. Now you have to be top 10. Then you go to the games, and you got to obviously be podium to win money. Like, all that makes so much sense. Every other fucking sport on the planet does it, obviously. That's even the college football, which would never built that way, even went to that model. model because it just makes so much more sense to have a real tournament style. So if they want to do something like that, and they obviously have the money, they obviously have the participants for now until Powerlifting America comes across and starts whooping your ass, which may happen. So I know it's hard to organize these things, but this isn't territory that's never been done. Sports have been done forever. Individual sports, wrestling, track and field have been done forever, and they've made way more sleek ways to get there. So you got to get your act together quick because the competition in the natural powerlifting world is growing with Powerlifting America. So I don't care one way or the other. I wish the sport was less split. And it probably is less split than it used to be, right? We used to have 20 federations that were semi-legit, and now we have like 3.
There are definitely fewer.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool, I guess, in the broad scope of things. But we still need to tighten that up, in my opinion.
No, I agree. But basically, we're talking about a fundamental restructuring of the way top-level powerlifting competition runs. And are they prepared for that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know because, like, I see them. Unless this regional structure builds out the way, they want to, I see them taking in significantly less money, and they're already not doing much for athletes.
Yeah, they do nothing for the athlete.
Yeah,
there's nothing done. There's no opportunity. There's no marketing to build it up. They've done a little bit better over the last year, but I mean, why is the UFC the UFC? Because Dana White's the best marketer in the world. He's the best character builder in the world. He's the best superstar builder in the world.
Yeah.
NFL and NBA and MLB are really good at it, but UFC is literally the only reason.
And I think he learned from Vince McMahon.
Yeah, Vince McMahon.
From watching Vince McMahon.
Yeah, superstar builder, even though he's...
he just now took a giant...
Yeah, he's in the hot suit. But he's talented at marketing, and that's all it is. And so, and again, it's not like these things have never been done anywhere.
Right.
You have models to follow after in every sport.
There are best practices out there for sure.
Every fucking sport. MMA, jiu-jitsu's doing better at it than powerlifting. And jiu-jitsu's probably the best connection to powerlifting we have in terms of a sport being so niche. A lot of people that watch jiu-jitsu do jiu-jitsu. I mean, there's ways to do it, and I don't know what that organization, because I've never dove into the politics of the USAPL, and I never will, and I don't care. But I don't know how they're organized, but someone should try to get their shit together because, again, Powerlifting America's coming strong, it seems like, with their talent pool moving over. Yeah,
with the talent pool, I don't think that they have anything like the infrastructure.
No, because they don't even have qualifying totals.
Yeah.
You just have to compete in Powerlifting America to go to QTs, but that'll switch quick. And I don't know who to run in that world either, but I'm assuming they're preparing for the storm because they're going to get a lot more people in their meets in 2025. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some kind of changing of the guard at some point within the power structure of the USAPL.
Yeah.
And probably what they should do, if they're being fair, is to say the best thing for athletes in our sport is to be able to compete on a national level, and we're not going to provide that the same way that an IPF affiliated.
Yeah, they just don't.
And either become just a bunch of regionals or just step out altogether and cede it to Powerlifting America. It sounds very drastic, and people who are USAPL diehards are not going to like that message, but I think it's inevitable.
I think there's very few real USAPL diehards. They'll act like it, but people that act that way have been in the sport for 3 years.
Yeah.
Changing the guard may happen, may not. We'll see what happens. We may be there, may not. I think Avi signed up. I think it's in Utah, so yeah, maybe we'll see you there, maybe we won't. And we will see what happens over the next couple of years, but it will be interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, new episode Wednesday and Friday. Share this with your friends. Share it on Instagram, Twitter. It always helps. And we'll see you in Discord. Good company, discord.com, 3sb.co for all your apparel needs. I'm Saul Mike.
And I mean, I am Jim. I can't even speak right now. I am at the Jim McDonald on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And we'll talk to you next time.